my colleague came, so I'm very open to yours and also yours questions and comments or corrections.
Except me.
Maybe you are so happy people that you don't have experience with evil and suffering. I don't believe it. Of course, please.
One comment, a very important point in explaining of existence of evil and suffering was the idea of Jacob Böhme that it's sort of dualism, that another fundamental principle of being is so-called Ungrund, the impersonal power from which God himself is originated, and then that gives the source of suffering. It is when this Ungrund flows into our world, and that is why God doesn't have power to stop it. And later in Russian religious philosophy, Nikolai Berdyaev took this idea to explain that God here also, he doesn't have power to stop evil. He has less rights than policemen, because otherwise, if we accept the idea that God gave us freedom to choose good or to act against our nature, he indirectly already gave us this possibility to choose evil, so he is indirectly responsible. But another idea that can be originated from this, of course, as Christians we cannot say that there is another source of being than Almighty Trinity or God himself, but that he possesses absolute freedom, and it is his choice to give us some of this freedom as a gift. And he can do it only once, because when he gives in image and likeness part of this freedom, he can no longer take it away. So that is why the only option of our salvation was of him coming, his word, his son Jesus Christ, to come and suffer here and die, to free us from this, to turn this power of our freedom from a destructive path to salvation.
Thank you. I'm not familiar with that Jacob Böhme theory, but it sounds to me that it's hard to combine with a Christian theistic conception who God is, because if there is another rival power in the world or in the universe which is comparable to God, this is not a Christian idea. It's not a problem if it's not a Christian idea, but it sounds to me also interesting in one point. In 20th century and also in this time, you can read some theological or philosophical concepts which promotes so-called weak God. Weak God. I'm not sure if you are familiar with it. And weak God is a concept which promotes the idea that God gave to the human being part of the his power because of a freedom, and he needs to give us our freedom because he would like to make a human being to able to love. And after that choice, after the choice that God gave us part of his power, or his power about this world, about our relationships, then God is not so powerful anymore. So he decided to respect our freedom, our choices, and then in certain particular moment or certain particular situation, which are suffering or very bad, he has no power, because he put it or he gave it to the man. I am not very fond of this theory. I think more traditionally, and for me, that all-powerful, omnipotent, and in every situation good God is only options how to imagine supreme being. But I know that sometimes I was in conference last year, and many papers was about the kenotic approach. So God makes himself weak, or makes himself made himself make himself so weak because of he incarnates to the human body that he is not so powerful anymore. He hasn't no in certain situation hasn't power anymore. And I think that in 20th century many of these theories are combined and are raised because of terrible evils we faced in Europe and in the world. Thank you for that inspiration. Pedro?
I think that these patterns of Theodicea, of solutions presented, are confusing, mingling together three different kinds of evil. Ontological evil with moral one. And the ontological evil as privation, as not yet being fulfilled, is an Aristotelian version of entelecheia. Any being, any essence which has not yet fulfilled its own form, in this respect is not so perfect, and in this respect is evil insofar as it has a lack of fulfillment. But if we free ourselves from this Aristotelian view and recognize limitations or ontological hierarchy as not as being evil, but simply being there as limited, as such essences, then we put away one kind of evil, one type of evil, confuse it in this Theodicea attempts. The second question would be posed to Augustine's theory of evil concerning the bad will. What it means in Augustine to have a bad will, to act badly out of one's own bad will. A bad will wants something bad, and what kind of evil wants a bad will? It should be something, but not a privation again. And the third point to stress here is that evil in the world is too active, too brutal, in order to be only a privation. Imagine the cynical tortures of prisoners in order to humiliate them, in order to break their spiritual backbone, simply to show them that they have no human dignity at all. It's not a privation. Such a will is too active, too violent, too powerful, in order to be only a privation. Could you say something about this Augustine version of a bad will?
Yeah. Thank you, Pedro. First question. I can see the connection of these big Christian theodicies with Aristotelian hellenomorphistic system or philosophy. Of course, and but I would like to stress it makes sense because in Thomistic version it fits very well to explain situation in the world where you have a substance and that substance has some accidents. You know, this is the battle, and substance of the battle is that he is able to prevent or to embrace water. You know, if you show me battle with no capability of embrace water, it's no battle. But you can show me red battle, this form or bigger one, or I don't know, with not fog but with tiger on it, and this is accidents, you know, and these Aristotelian conceptions fits very well to the idea that all things in the world were created in ideal situation or as substances. Substance is something which has a goal, which has a form, and all things which is not so essential for substance is just accidents. And I can connect it with your second question. You are very, very right. If you are, for example, I would like to steal a computer of my friend. Okay, I have desire to have that such computer, and Augustine explained it that I have a bad will, and Petro asked, "May I have, or for what I have my desire? I have a bad desire. Evil doesn't exist according to Augustine, so I'm thinking about his computer, and I would like to steal. I would like to take him that computer, and to what my will is concerned, to what goal is concerned, if evil doesn't exist." And I think that Augustine said that no, to have a computer is a good thing, but to have computer according to rightness, according to law. So this is my computer, and if I would like that computer, I can buy it, or I can ask my friend to sell it to me, or whatever. So Augustine privatio bonum conception, I think, aims to show that our desires, even bad desires, are bad because they are not oriented to bigger good. We decided for weaker good or worse option. Because according to Augustine, you can't be totally corrupted. You can't be totally bad. You can't be, because evil can't be. Evil doesn't exist. If I'm talking that evil is, this is the mistake, logical mistake according to Augustine, because evil doesn't exist, can't exist, because just that substances can exist. But my will, not reality, out of my mind, is bad. My will could be bad, and I could have bad attitude, but not bad essence, bad substance.
Imagine I am willing to torture somebody till death,
Yeah.
to destroy somebody, to destroy physically and psychically a human person. What good I am striving to?
Yeah, this is your third question, very logical one, and it's tricky to speak about it in philosophy, because if you present this situation, brutal torture, or even worse, on the conference about the philosophy of religion, sorry for exceptions, but I heard one lecture about terrible evil. It's new term or new theory which try to explain terrible evil. And that guy, it was Jesuit, and he was explaining terrible evil on the case of excuse me, I'd like to try, I need to translate you in English. Give me a second. When mother are in a situation where she needs and she is pushed to eat her kids. You know, you can imagine certain circumstances.
Maria and Leo Trotsky about the artificial famine genocide in Ukraine.
Yeah.
Genocide.
Yeah. And
famine will be only then when mothers will eat their kids, as the Jewish women ate their kids during the war against Vespasian's in conquering of Jerusalem by Romans.
Yeah. So this kind of evil is not everyday evil, but it's terrible evil. But I have two answers. First one is silence, that it doesn't make any sense to explain how it's possible, except the illness of mind, illness of soul, and illness is absence of health conditions. So I can't imagine this kind of torture, this kind of situation within the normal, healthy mind and healthy persons. And second one is a little bit offensive, and philosopher can say that this is not fair, because somebody who are talking about somebody who is talking about this kind of terrible evil put on the table very emotional situation, and we as philosophers doesn't possess these tools to react to the emotional situation. I know terrible evil really occurs in the world, unfortunately, but we are under the pressure if we are talking about it, and maybe I can say that for somebody, imagine of that situation is very far from his or her mind, and situation that I have pain or I can't see meaning of my life is the similar terrible and similar difficult for me. So I think that this is the in history, or from my human point of view, this is terrible things, and I can't explain it completely. But this doesn't lead me to reconfiguration of the classical schema or classical structure of problem of evil. It's my opinion that it's not another type of. It is another type of evil. This is moral evil which cause physical evil to somebody, but it's not in principle different situation. It's terrible, I know, but it's not different situation.
One is the answer of St. Thomas Aquinas at the end of the 5 ways. But it's so powerful that he allows evil to exist, but out from this evil he produces good consequences. Out of evil he produces good. In this ability of God, St. Thomas Aquinas sees the omnipotence of God. I know that it's not the final answer why the evil exists at all. Another point would be theological one, and without theology, without revelation, we cannot answer it. It is the final judgment, and final conquest of evil, and final victory of good, finally and totally.
Yeah, this is a theological solution or concept, but I think we have to be very careful, because if somebody is tortured or if somebody is punished by that kind of violence, for example Holocaust, or for example torture and violence during communistic era here in Ukraine as well as in Slovakia or whole Eastern Europe, there could be very bad if philosopher would have easy solution how to explain it. It could be offensive to real victims of the violence. We have to be very calm and modest in proposing these solutions. Maybe I can be much more open if I can say about my illness, my harms, my problems, and I can say that this illness, this evil in my life helped me to move somewhere, helped me to another step. But it's not fair, it's not nice to interpret or explain your evil, especially in the situation if your evil is terrible. For example, Shoah, Holocaust. If I would like to explain Holocaust, I could make many mistakes or harm to people again.
No, Saint John the Chrysostom, he explained such evil as Holocaust long before it happened, because he wrote in his work against Judaism, he wrote that for the evil of killing God, the suffering, they will suffer for that sin until the end of the world. So he explained that long ago, and it's our saint, Orthodox and Catholic saint.
Yeah. If somebody is saint or proclaimed as a saint, it doesn't mean that he is out of the corruption of his mind in particular theory. And I'm not Jew, but I would like to ask you or anybody who tell this that okay, very young, 6 or 10 years. Child, nice, cute girl, is punished by acting of his grandparents that killed Jesus Christ, or how can we imagine? How can we combine this view with the omnipotent and
it is the same situation as in Palestine, for instance. If the peoples of the autochthon peoples of Palestine were punished for worshipping Baal and for the ritual prostitution and so on and so on. Some cute kids and girls, innocent, were killed by Joshua Navin. Also, they were personally innocent. the same kind of situation. And I would draw a distinction between those who are really guilty in killing Jesus Christ and those who are not willing, who have not committed this murder, and also between those who accept and confirm this killing of some apostatic Mashiach.
But in that time or
In
also
our
now?
time.
In our times.
And those who reject such crime in the past. And those who are accepting such a crime as a good and just deed against some apostatic Mashiach, some frivolent seducer, I think would be responsible also together with those who are guilty directly at that time in this crime.
Which is written in the Talmud now, the holy scripture of
Not
modern
all
Judaism.
Jews are accepting Talmud now.
If they don't accept Talmud now, their only option is to convert to Christianity. That is the only
I
salvation.
met the situation with secular Jews who are not willing to accept this cruel text of Talmud, and nevertheless they are not Christians. They are simply secular people who want to live peacefully in normal human society according to laws of normal human society, not making difference between chosen people and others. They want simply to live human,
But
morally good.
secularism cannot save anyone, never.
It's another question,
Yeah.
but salvation is a theological question. But we could imagine, for instance, a morally good heathen as a Socrates at that time, or morally good heathens at the Roman times of Roman Republic. So we can imagine now in our secular world, morally good, indifferent people, or atheists even. But the question about their salvation is another question, a theological question. But concerning our worldly situations, they can be, they can live according to normal human laws. And from this position on, they reject the racist text of Talmud.
Well, that's the point of salvation. Is better to leave it to the divine mystery.
Yeah. Omnipotent and good, all good on God. Yeah.
Okay. I think personally I have more questions now than answers, but I think this is a way how we do discussions. We do them to ask more questions. So thank you very much for your interesting
Excuse me,
lecture.
there's maybe last question.
Yes, I'm sorry. I have a very short question about possibility Theodicea between Kant and San Tommaso Aquin, between evil and God, Anthony Rosmini.
And the question is,
Чи мають можливість розвивати Теодицею між Кантом і Томою Аквінським у Антоні Розміні? Антоні Розміні, Антоні Розміні.
yeah, I know him, but
yes.
I'm not aware of particular theory of evil and Theodicea. Sorry, I'm not able to provide you with the answer.
Okay, then thank you very much again for your interesting lecture. And I welcome you again to our next lecture on Wednesday. on the petitionary prayer, прохальна молитва, про філософські деякі аспекти прохальної молитви. In the same room, here on Wednesday. Thank you.
Thank you very much.